শুভ সন্ধ্যা এবং good evening everybody. On behalf of the All India Peace and Solidarity Organization, West Bengal State Committee, I welcome His Excellency Mr. Adnan Abu Al-Haija, Honorable Ambassador Sir of the State of Palestine in India, Sri Nilotpal Basu, Honorable former member of the Rajya Sabha and Presidium member of the Aipso All India Committee. We are grateful to Honorable Ambassador Sir for joining today's online seminar. And you know, the topic today is achieving a just solution of the question of Palestine, role of the solidarity movement. Sir, it's a privilege to listen to you on this occasion, and we are sure your deliberation will benefit us and will help us understand the current situation in Palestine, and in particular, the responsibility of the solidarity movement. What do you expect from us? We thank Sri Nilotpal Basu for his participation in this program. Sri Basu, all of you know, has vast knowledge on the subject and has spoken and written widely on Palestine question. It's a great opportunity to listen to him this time. We also welcome all the participants who have already joined us this virtual program. We sincerely thank all of you, and you know your presence makes such a session meaningful and fruitful. And all of you know All India Peace and Solidarity Organization West Bengal State Committee have been observing the International Palestine Solidarity Day on the 20th November every year for more than a decade. This is part of our regular program in solidarity with the just causes of the Palestinian people. Today, solidarity is being observed not only in West Bengal, but also in many states of India by the Aipso, and also the World Peace and Solidarity Movement across the world in all the continents. Aipso, you know, is a people's movement, not just a forum, and the people of West Bengal are proud of our rich legacy of our anti-imperialist struggle. The people of West Bengal are always in support of the people of Palestine in their fight. On this, you know, on this occasion, on the 29th November, on the International Solidarity Day, once again, we demand the Aipso West Bengal State Committee the end to the illegal Israeli occupation of Palestine and establishing an independent Palestine state within the borders of 4th June 1967 with East Jerusalem as its capital. India should extend genuine support to the Palestinian causes as resolved by the United Nations. Military and security ties with the Israel should be discontinued until it stops violation of United Nations resolution on Palestine. We are all in favor of the realization of peaceful coexistence of Palestine and Israel according to the two-state solution as prescribed by the United Nations. We support also the demand for the dismantling of the apartheid wall and all illegal settlements in Israeli occupied Palestinian territory. But you understand, for reasonable, you know, that's quite understandable. We feel it's a battle on many fronts. We are sure the Palestine people will win this battle at the end. And Aipso will continue to fight for the Palestinian causes and continue to work for building a strong public opinion in favor of just solution of Palestine question and to sensitize the policymakers on this issue. And friends, with these few words, I conclude my introductory comments. Once again, I thank all of you, especially our distinguished speakers, Honorable Ambassador Sir and Mr. Nilotpal Basu. You know, for technical reasons, we have to amend some part of our program, but okay. This time I am requesting Honorable Ambassador Sir to deliver his speech.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Dear comrade, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaste, good evening, assalamu alaikum. Allow me to thank you all and thank the General Secretary of Aipso West Bengal and all members and leaders of Aipso who work hard yearly to present their solidarity with the Palestinian people. The Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territory since 1967, including East Jerusalem, is illegal in all aspects and must end. This occupation is propped up and through systemic breaches of international law, many amounting to war crimes, and long ago passed the threshold or legality, whether the settlement, colonization, annexation of our land, the repression, collective punishment, and apartheid against our people. Those who believe Israel has actually suspended or seized its annexation plan are willfully or mistakenly ignoring what is happening every single day in occupied Palestine, including East Jerusalem. Settlements are being rapidly expanded as Israel move ahead with a plan to construct thousands more settlements units in just the period since its so-called suspension announcement, especially in Jerusalem and Bethlehem areas, proving over and over that it rejects the two-state solution and has no intention to end its occupation. The occupying power also persists with its wall construction, confiscation of Palestinian land, exploitation of natural resources, dangerous excavation under the holy site, and the violation of historic status quo at Al-Haram al-Sharif. Hundreds more homes and civilian structures, including schools and clinics, have been demolished. Palestinian families are being evicted and dispossessed, rendered homeless even in this time of pandemic, as our civilians are forcibly transferred in the ongoing ethnic cleansing. Extremist settlers and militias, abetted by the Israeli military and openly funded and incited by the Israeli government, also continue their reign of violence and terror, attempting to drive our people from their land. The scope and scale of the occupations, a human rights violation, are too vast to enumerate here, but are corroborated by the many reports of UN agencies and international organizations. Palestinian children, women, and men tragically continue to be killed and injured in daily military raids on Palestinian cities, towns, villages, and refugee camps. Palestinians, especially young males, continue to be arrested, administratively detained, imprisoned, medically neglected, and tortured. With nearly 5,000 now captive in Israeli jails, including at least 155 children, the bodies of Palestinians killed by the occupying forces continue to withheld, obstructing their proper burial and deepening the trauma endured by their families. Moreover, Israel continues to collectively punish the Palestinian people and impose a racist apartheid regime controlling and blighting every aspect of their lives. The occupying forces routinely threaten, humiliate, and abuse Palestinian civilians, particularly at the hundreds of military checkpoints restricting freedom of movement and fragmenting our land into well-and isolated Bantustans. Most shocking remains the illegal 14 years blockade to Gaza by occupying forces, which Israel has turned the Gaza Strip into an open-air prison and methodically inflicted a humanitarian crisis in the entire civilian population in what constitute a massive violation of human rights tantamount to a crime against humanity. This cruel and deliberate deprivation of 2 million people is nearing the brink of disaster, averted only by international humanitarian support, foremost via UNRWA, which itself faces a financial crisis threatening continuity of its vital assistance to 5.6 million Palestinian refugees across the region. We appeal for attention to this crisis, demanding an end to the Israeli blockade and calling for support to UNRWA to ensure the well-being of the refugee pending just a solution to their plight. The handset acquired in the past 54 years makes clear that the occupation has merely served as pseudo-legal facade for unlawful colonization. The failure to uphold the law and the human rights standards when it comes to the Israeli occupation and failure to enact consequences for violations has only emboldened more violations. States must act on their responsibilities and commitments and end the double standard of rewarding rather than punishing Israel for its illegal behavior. Its singling out for exception treatment must end here and now. There is no alternative if we are to change the dismal situation that prevails. Accountability is the key to deter further crimes, spare the suffering of more innocents, and create credible horizon that can take us from talking and dreaming of a just peace to making it reality. Accountability is a legal obligation and is what can ultimately compel compliance in the face of decades intransigence and help us open a new chapter that bring both the Palestinian and Israeli people's peace, stability, security. We urge all states to uphold international law in regards to the Palestinian question in word and deed, including through support of United Nations resolutions and tangible effort to implement them at the national and international levels. We urge support for an international peace conference in 2022 based on the international consensus enshrined in UN resolution as the most effective means to resolve this conflict and establish a just and lasting peace. We call for activation of Security Council in line with its charter duties, the quartet in line with its mandate, and all concerned regional and international partners for this purpose. We urge continued support for the unalienable rights of the Palestinian people, including to self-determination and independence, and call for recognition of the state of Palestine to the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital by states who have not done so. At the end, I thank again all of you, our comrades in Aipso West Bengal. I would also thank the government of India and the Indian people for their support to the Palestinian cause and the Palestinian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Ambassador, sir, for your excellent explanation of the current situation. And now I request Mr. Nilotpal Basu to start his deliberation. Please, Mr.
Thank
Basu.
you, Comrade Ranjan. At the very outset, I must thank PSO West Bengal for giving this opportunity to express my solidarity with the just cause of Palestine on this International Day of Solidarity. I think we heard an excellent presentation from His Excellency, and I think he has covered much ground on what is actually happening in Palestine, both West Bank and Gaza. I had the opportunity to be in Palestine and also Israel as part of a World Peace Council delegation. So most of the things that Honorable Ambassador has explained is something which I have witnessed with my own eyes. I think His Excellency will have to also excuse me because the audience for this webinar is largely Bengali. So I will be switching over to Bengali from time to time, which he may find not only difficult and impossible to follow.
Go on.
But excuse me for that.
No, not at all. Go on.
আসলে আমাদের যে সংহতি আন্দোলন এবং আমাদের সারা ভারত শান্তি এবং সংহতি সংগঠনের যে কাজ, সেই কাজের একটা মূল নৈতিক ভিত্তি হচ্ছে আমরা প্যালেস্তাইনের মানুষের যে ন্যায়সঙ্গত ইচ্ছা, তাদের সার্বভৌমত্বের জন্য, তাদের স্বাধীনতার জন্য এবং একটা বৈষম্যহীন পরিস্থিতিতে তাদের নিজেদের বিকাশের জন্য, এটা তো একটা বড় গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বিষয়। কিন্তু প্যালেস্তাইনের প্রশ্নে আমাদের দেশের স্বাধীনতা আন্দোলনের সময় থেকে আমরা যে ভূমিকা পালন করছি, আমি খালি আইপসোর কথা বলছি না, আমাদের ভারতের জাতীয় আন্দোলন, স্বাধীনতার আগেও তারা যে ভূমিকা পালন করেছে, তার একটা মূল কথা ছিল যে প্যালেস্তাইনের মুক্তি সংগ্রামকে সমর্থন করা, আমাদের নিজস্ব যে লড়াই ব্রিটিশ সাম্রাজ্যবাদের বিরুদ্ধে, বিভিন্ন দেশে দেশে ঔপনিবেশিকতাবাদের বিরুদ্ধে, সেই সংগ্রামের অংশ ছিল। Without being part of our own anti-colonial movement, without being part of the anti-imperialist movement, the Indian national movement could not forge ahead. So it is in early 40s in the last century when this question was posed, when Israel was being imposed by the so-called international community on the free Palestinian people. It was no less than Mahatma Gandhi who said that we all appreciate the Holocaust and the deadly discrimination that has been faced by Jews, by the Nazis and other fascist forces. But at the same time, there is no way that one can support this imposition and restricting the freedom of Palestine by Western powers without any consultation, let alone the participation of the Palestinian people in evolving a solution. এবং আমরা যদি দেখি, এটাই উৎস প্যালেস্তাইনের যে সমস্যার সম্মুখীন হচ্ছেন প্যালেস্তাইনের মানুষ, তার মূল কথা হচ্ছে যে প্যালেস্তাইনে যে মানুষ ছিলেন, যে জনসংখ্যা ছিল, তাদের ওপরে তাদের সঙ্গে আলোচনা না করে একতরফা পশ্চিমী দেশগুলো এবং বিশেষ করে তখনকার দিনে ব্রিটিশ সরকার এবং পরবর্তীকালে মার্কিনী সরকারও সেটাকে সমর্থন করেছে। And the most obnoxious part of this is that today in Britain they are trying to go for a law whereby any criticism of Zionism, of the Jewish state, will be considered as anti-Semitic, and there will be actions against the progressive forces in some of these Western countries. এর কারণ হচ্ছে যে বিডিএস মুভমেন্ট, এবং যে বয়কটের কর্মসূচি গোটা পৃথিবী জুড়ে শান্তি আন্দোলন, সংহতি আন্দোলন এবং প্যালেস্টাইনের প্রতি যারা সহমর্মী সেই শক্তি নিচ্ছে, সেটা এত অর্থবহ হয়েছে, এত বেশি কার্যকরী হয়েছে। এই ইসরায়েলের যে সেটেলমেন্ট ইকোনমি যেটাকে বলে, যে উপনিবেশ গড়ে তোলা, দিস the settlement economy of Israel has been very badly hit by the BDS movement, which has been taken up by the international solidarity movement. So that is why they want to delegitimize that BDS movement, and therefore they are saying whosoever is talking about boycotting products from settlements in Palestine, they are actually anti-Semites, and therefore they are trying to take away the moral legitimacy of the solidarity movement globally. Now, এখন একটা যেটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ প্রশ্ন সামনে এসেছে, যে ইসরায়েলের যে রাষ্ট্র, তারা ঘোষণা করছে যে তারা সংবিধান পরিবর্তন করে ইসরায়েলকে একটা জুইশ রাষ্ট্র হিসেবে ঘোষণা করবে। এটা শুধু প্যালেস্টাইন বলে নয়, আমরা সারা পৃথিবীতেই দেখছি যে যারা মৌলবাদী শক্তি, তারা ধর্মীয় পরিচিতি সত্তার ভিত্তিতে তারা রাষ্ট্র গঠনের চেষ্টা করছে, এবং এটা একটা উৎস। আমরা জানি যে বর্ণ বিদ্বেষবাদী, জাতি বিদ্বেষবাদী যে মনোভাব এবং যে মতাদর্শ, সেই মতাদর্শের সঙ্গে সাযুজ্য রেখে তারা এই কাজ করছে। আমরা এখানেও ভারতেও একই ধরনের প্রবণতার সম্মুখীন হচ্ছি। এটা একটা নতুন প্রশ্ন যেটা এসেছে, এবং এখানে লক্ষণীয় বিষয় হচ্ছে যে নেতানিয়াহু সরকারের প্রধান হিসেবে থাকতে না পারলেও নতুন যে এসেছে মানে একই কথা তারাও বলছে। দ্বিতীয় প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে যে রাষ্ট্রসংঘের নিরাপত্তা পরিষদের যে প্রস্তাব ছিল, UN Security Council resolution, which has been so eloquently explained by His Excellency. Now, in order to torpedo and sabotage that solution, the scale of occupation, the creation of the settlements, I've seen with my own eyes. I mean, it's absurd the way it is growing, and some of the liberals also in Europe and United States now, and actually surveys are revealing that they cannot actually digest the brazenness of the expansion of the occupation and creation of settlements. And it's so sad to see that Palestinian people, if they have to move from one area to other, they have to pass through several checkpoints. I mean, which is a traumatic experience for us. First of all, our audience must understand that Palestine does not have an airport of their own. I mean, if you want to go to any part of Palestine, you have to travel through checkpoints, and you have to land in Tel Aviv. And I recall my traumatic experience, what kind of difficulty one had to face for reaching Ramallah from after landing in Tel Aviv, and so many checkposts one has to go through, and so on and so forth. Therefore, this whole existence of Palestine is today largely notional. I mean, which has been completely undermined and made irrelevant by the manner in which Israel is functioning. And I think it is not only the question of Israel. What is at stake is the credibility of the international system. I mean, I think no other question, onno kono proshno, প্যালেস্তাইনের মুক্তি এবং প্যালেস্তাইনের স্বাধীন রাষ্ট্র ছাড়া আর কোনো প্রশ্নে বোধহয় রাষ্ট্রসংঘের যে প্রস্তাব, রাষ্ট্রসংঘের নিরাপত্তা পরিষদের যে প্রস্তাব এত জঘন্যভাবে তার লঙ্ঘন হয়েছে, এর উদাহরণ বোধহয় আন্তর্জাতিক রাজনীতিতে খুব কমই রয়েছে। সুতরাং প্রশ্ন হচ্ছে যে আজকে দাঁড়িয়ে প্যালেস্তাইনের মুক্তি সংগ্রাম সংহতি জানানো সম্ভব নয় শুধুমাত্র ইসরায়েলি রাষ্ট্রের বিরোধিতা করে। একই সঙ্গে যে আন্তর্জাতিক রাজনৈতিক ব্যবস্থা, বিশেষ করে মার্কিন যুক্তরাষ্ট্র এবং কিছু কিছু পশ্চিমী দেশ, তাদের যে ভূমিকা, সেই ভূমিকাকে তার চরিত্র উন্মোচন না করে এই আন্দোলনকে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়া অসম্ভব। এবং আরো বিপজ্জনক হচ্ছে যে বিশেষ করে এই যে ইসরায়েলের প্রশ্ন, বিশেষ করে প্যালেস্তিনিয়ান মুক্তি সংগ্রামকে তারা সন্ত্রাসবাদী হিসেবে চিহ্নিত করে তাদের যে ভূমিকা, সেইটার তারা বৈধতা পাওয়ার চেষ্টা করে। এবং সেই চেষ্টার মধ্যে একটা বড় কথা হচ্ছে যে কিভাবে প্যালেস্তাইনের নাগরিকদের, এবং শুধু প্যালেস্তাইনের নাগরিক কেন, ইসরায়েলের মধ্যে যারা গণতন্ত্রপ্রিয় মানুষ আছে, যারা শান্তিকামী মানুষ আছে, যারা চায় দু রাষ্ট্রের সমাধান, even those Israelis who are progressive, who are Democrats, who are peace loving, who wants to have peaceful coexistence with Palestinians, even their democratic right, their human rights. I mean, there are several religious leaders of the Jewish community who have come out openly against this completely asphyxiation of the people's right and human rights by the Israeli state. I think it is also against that. Therefore, the question is today that when we are talking of solidarity, we are not only talking of the solidarity with the Palestinians' rightful demand for freedom. I mean, of course, that is the core, that is the mainstay. But there are other consequential issues that also needs to be articulated, because that is needed to build a real global platform for extending solidarity. The third point I would like to stress is this because of this unjust manner in which Zionists have imposed and functioning the Israeli state, it is based on a sense of so-called sense of insecurity, so-called paranoia that we will be taken over by the Palestinians and other Arab people. Now the question is that is completely misplaced. If there was really approach towards a peaceful settlement of the Palestinian question, I mean, every one of us, we have time and again reiterated that two-state solution. I mean, nobody is saying that Israel won't be there. Everybody is talking of a two-state solution with East Jerusalem as the capital of the free Palestinian state, and the settlement of the border question before 67 war, that boundary. If that is honored, there will be no such fear. I mean, even no ground for such fear. But the fact is that they are playing up that fear in order to extend and in order to further imperialist interest in the region. Today, there is no just solution possible to the in the entire regional context of West Asia without settling the Palestinian question. And since they are not prepared to do that, so they are playing on this question of a false sense of insecurity and they are adapting these methods. Now, we know that we have entered into some kind of a new feature in contemporary capitalism, which is being called digital capitalism, and the notion of a surveillance state and the notion of a national security state. Ideologically speaking, the role of the Israeli state has been a major contributor to that process. And we are seeing that how it has become a Frankenstein. We have just witnessed the new debate and controversy on the Pegasus spyware. Now this is a weapon grade cyber warfare tool, which was being abundantly used by many of the governments and which have been imported from Israel. Even in our country, we have seen that how the government has brazenly denied that whether they have purchased that spyware. So these surveillance equipments and surveillance weapons and the whole notion of national security, which really undermines and completely eliminates the question of individual liberty and personal freedom and democratic rights. So all those questions cannot be addressed today without extending solidarity with the Palestinian people's struggle for freedom. And in our context, the military cooperation, I mean, the ambassador has been quite kind to recognize the role of the Indian government. It is true, but at the same time, I cannot but state very clearly that we had never had this kind of pro-Israeli government ever since our independence. Why independence? Even before the independence, we have been always consistently with the Palestinian liberation movement. Now, the military cooperation with Israel that India is having, Israel, I mean, Israel is the second largest military hardware exporter to India. Therefore, in a way, Indian government's business and import of military hardware from Israel is actually financing the occupation state in Palestine. And therefore, we in the solidarity movement here actually taking up this question of ending defense cooperation between the Indian and the Israeli government, because without that, the kind of atrocity that Comrade Ambassador was explaining, what is happening today, children being jailed, prisoners being there, without any minimum medical services being provided, without even sparing UN sponsored medical and other humanitarian facilities, bombing of Gaza, making Gaza the biggest open air prison in the whole world, one can say. সুতরাং এই যে ইসরায়েলি রাষ্ট্রের যে ভূমিকা, সেই ভূমিকার শুধুমাত্র প্যালেস্তাইনের মুক্তি সংগ্রামের বিরোধিতা বা বৈরিতার মধ্যে সীমাবদ্ধ নেই। এমন কতগুলো ধ্যান ধারণা তারা তৈরি করছে যেগুলো বৃহত্তর পৃথিবীর যে গণতন্ত্রের জন্য আন্দোলন, মানবাধিকারের জন্য আন্দোলন, সেইগুলোর প্রতিও চরম কুঠারাঘাত হিসেবে কাজ করছে। সুতরাং আমাদের এখানে ব্যাপক ভারতীয় জনগণের অংশগ্রহণের জন্য ওই সমস্ত প্রশ্নগুলোকে যুক্ত করেই আমাদের মানুষকে সচেতন করতে হবে। কারণ আমরা বিশ্বাস করি যে আজকে যত ক্রূর হোক না কেন অত্যাচারীদের ভূমিকা, শেষ পর্যন্ত কিন্তু আজকে একবিংশ শতাব্দীতে দাঁড়িয়ে যেখানে দাঁড়িয়ে গণতন্ত্রের কথা হচ্ছে, যেখানে মানবাধিকারের কথা হচ্ছে, এই এই মানবাধিকার কে অস্বীকার করে কাজ করছে একটা রাষ্ট্র, একটা ধর্মীয় রাষ্ট্র চাপিয়ে দিয়ে তারা যে বর্ণ বিদ্বেষী একটা অভিমুখে পরিচালিত করছে প্যালেস্তাইনের আভ্যন্তরীণ পরিস্থিতিকে, এটা কখনো জয়ী হতে পারে না। এবং এর মধ্যেও আমরা দেখেছি একদিকে যেরকম তারা কোণঠাসা করবার চেষ্টা করেছে, কিন্তু একই সঙ্গে আন্তর্জাতিক সংহতি আন্দোলনও কিন্তু নতুন নতুন রাস্তা বার করে এই যে দখলদারি একটা রাষ্ট্র, the question of internal colonization of a people, of an entire people, and undermining the democratic rights of Israel's own enlightened citizenry who are for democracy, who are for peaceful settlement. So this cannot go together. Therefore, I believe that international solidarity movement, including our own solidarity movement here in India, on which we work as part of the Aipso, I think we have much greater scope in a way, because increasingly the hypocrisy of what is happening in Israel and what the US and other Western powers are doing. I mean, who day in and day out talk about human rights violations in country which they don't see eye to eye with, but they are actually practicing something which is quite at odds with those stated ideas. Therefore, I think today, the International Solidarity Day is an occasion to rededicate ourselves to really take up this question of the just solution of Palestine with the sovereignty of the Palestinian people, a two-state solution, and granting capital status to of Palestinian state to East Jerusalem, and settling the boundaries as the then existing pre-1967 borders. That is a key question on which we have to rededicate ourselves. I think with our efforts of peace-loving people, with the solidarity movement and the Palestinian people themselves, will be able to achieve that day when we will be able to really reverse and roll back this pernicious direction which Israel has taken in undermining and trampling the rights of the Palestinian people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Basu. So both the lectures, I'm sure, are very enlightening and helped our audience and the organizers and members of this AIPSO West Bengal State Committee also, in all the districts also. And I thank you, all of you. And just for the audience, Sri Robindev was supposed to preside over this session, but due to technical reason, he could not enter the studio. So I request Professor Torun Patro, who is also a member of the Presidium of AIPSO West Bengal State Committee, to Professor Patro, please, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you. The respected President and the both the speakers, guest speakers here, we are listening to the webinar, international webinar on the subject achieving a just solution of the question of Palestine, the role of the solidarity movement organized by AIPSO West Bengal State Unit. And for the last 45 or 50 minutes, we are listening to it. Particularly, the guest speaker, His Excellency Adnan Abu Ajhadia, the Honorable Ambassador of the State of Palestine in India, and Mr. Nilotpal Boshu, the Presidium member of AIPSO India. Both the lectures, we, the participants, are being reached by the deliberations, and it will help us to understand the Palestine problem in future. Therefore, I like to offer thanks to the guest speaker, His Excellency Mr. the ambassador of the State of Palestine in India, for his rich speech delivered by him today. And I also like to thank him to give it so much of time in spite of his busy schedule. He has come here and with us for a long time. Similarly, I also thanks to our speaker, Mr. Nilotpal Basu, the Presidium member of All India AIPSO, for his speech, which have encouraged us very much. And I also like to offer my thanks to all the members of AIPSO Central Committee as well as the West Bengal State Committee who have participated and listening to this seminar, and thus they have helped us and encouraged us to hold this type of seminar in future also. With this, I shall thanks to the chair at last, and with this I remain. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you, particularly the participants and the audience. You are the source of encouragement and inspiration to all of us. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you.